Hi everyone, it's the Assyrian priestess with you. I hope this finds you well. In today's reading, I'm going to ask what archetypal imprints are guiding us at this time. What archetypes are kind of important or guiding the collective at this time. I'm using Kim Kranz's Wild Unknown Pocket Archetypes. And so the first card out, we have a horse with the keyword the hunter. And the second card out is the forest. So I wonder if these two words mean something for you, followed by the tear. So there's something you've gone towards, there's something you've raced towards, and it's led you to a mysterious new place. But there's been a disappointment for you in this new place. Maybe something you've gone for hasn't worked out the way you needed to, or it's made you confront some of your stuff. We have the medallion, the comic, and the empty room. I kind of get the sense here that, and we are in year of the fire horse. So I'm wondering if the fire horse energy has seen you working hard or really racing and galloping towards something that you want. And let's put them in the order that they came out. And it's led you to the forest, the mythical forest. Dark place, a mysterious place, a beautiful place, a place where you've had to face some of your stuff, because the tear, it's such a beautiful image of a jewel. But when you're going through a dark night of the soul or a disappointment, it can feel very heavy. So you've raced towards this thing, and you found yourself in a foreign place or a new place, or maybe you've just gone camping or to your cabin or, on a retreat somewhere. And it's allowed you to actually do some release. It's not necessarily that something has harmed you, but that could be the case, and I hope that isn't the case. That's one scenario. Another scenario is this time out and this time alone and this time of repose has actually helped you release some stuff. Now, the medallion archetype is, I don't know if you've ever been gifted some piece of jewelry or a talisman or an heirloom that connects you to an ancestral line. So the medallion kind of does have an ancestral inheritance energy. There is something that you've inherited from your ancestors that you've disguised with keeping up appearances, acting like everything's fine even when it's not, and you're actually grieving. Because we have the comic and the empty room. So what I'm kind of seeing here is you are a very strong, healthy, courageous spirit. You're the type of person who marches into environments with confidence, with grace. People notice you for your courage, for your beauty, for your, like if you see a stallion, it's like they're very sort of remarkable and, what's the word I'm looking for, magnificent creatures. And so that's your energy. You dive straight in, but where you found yourself is actually in the deep within, and the deep within carries some grief for you, and that grief is linked to something your ancestors gave you or wanted you to have that you don't have. And so you're covering it up with, everything's fine, everything's cool, I'm okay. But really, there's some grief there. There's this emptiness there for you. Okay, I was not expecting this. Quite a heavy reading. Okay, here we have the agape card. which agape is an ancient Greek word. Maybe it's modern Greek too, let me know. About love, the love that we have for humankind. You know, the love that we have for the world's children, the world. We have the ring in the shadow. Then we have the mystic. Part of your path, I feel like this is a bit of a life path reading, but it could be just a scenario reading as well. Part of your path is to really be that energetic force that is here on planet Earth to give to others, no matter what your vocation is. No matter if you're working, a student, retired, you always have known that what you're really doing in life is sharing love for humanity. So maybe you are a humanitarian of some kind. And this whole process, your process of grief and loss and pretending to be okay even when you're not, has kind of turned you into a bit of a mystic. People see you as a kind of sage, or maybe like you always give like really profound advice. Here we have the poet archetype. So maybe you are a writer, you know, not just of poetry, but any sort of writing, any sort of communicating. I have the village in the shadow. So then we have the king, which is a father and ruler archetype, the dead end and the ocean. So I'm wondering if there's been a loss related to a father figure or an archetypal figure. And the loss is not literal, maybe it's metaphoric. Maybe part of that inherited legacy that has actually left you empty, or maybe you failed to live up to this legacy. You know, you're realizing that it's actually the dead end, and the ocean is also a lot of release and grief as well. If we have the tear and the ocean together, that is a lot of release. Maybe you've actually been called to spend time at the ocean, going for walks, or just sitting, reading, contemplating. Yeah. And I feel like this is an ancestral loss as well. I'm wondering too if there is a personal loss for you, or something you have failed to live up to, something that you always were told that you should by your ancestors. There's something about divine timing in your story. So maybe your story, the part around timing, here we have the mask again. So the mask and the comic are similar. The comic, don't be fooled, it's not just someone who covers grief with joy and laughter. Comics, when you think of like stand-up comics or writers who write comedic, you know, serials for TV, they tell the truth in a covert way, right? They're actually the most poignant and precise and astute kind of social observers, if you've noticed. They're social critics, but they don't write a sort of investigative journalistic piece about it. They make it funny and relatable. But I sense here that there's something about your story that has to do with divine timing. And the mask that you wear is actually your ally. The mask that you wear actually grounds you. So maybe part of the story for you is, what masks do you wear that allow you to show up in the world in a more authentic way? So a lot of people think of masks as like deceptive or performance, whereas in Kim Kranz's deck, she explains the mask archetype as an ally. It's almost like actors about to go on stage. They train for months to get into that persona. And so what persona do you need to wear, or do you wear, that actually makes you show up in the world in a more authentic way? Because sometimes we inherit roles that we're quote unquote meant to play by the king, by the patriarch, right? But they haven't served us. They filled us with grief of not fulfilling that. And so what mask do you wear that makes you show up in the world courageously and gives you confidence, basically? And do more of that. And here we have the nectar, aletheia, another Greek word for the truth, for the divine truth, because we have kairos and aletheia and agape. So you've actually received 3 of these ancient Greek archetypes: truth, time, and kairos is the right time, divine time, and agape. So you're sort of, and you had the mystic. So I don't know if you're a bit of a mystical creature yourself. And the creator. So this looks like a nice reading. I wasn't expecting to pull so many archetypes, but I hope you're enjoying the storytelling. Let's go to the tarot. The 3 cards I'm going to choose are Kairos, the Hunter, and the Creator as sort of keys. Okay, so we start with the 10 of Wands, burnout, exhaustion, depletion. There's something you've been chasing, and then we have the 9 of Wands, which I like having numbers moving backwards because it means you're releasing. You're releasing some burdens here, some things that have felt heavy. Son of Wands in the shadow. Whoa, check this out. Talk about burdens. The 9 of Wands and the World. So in this year of the horse, I feel like one of the big themes for you is all the ways that you actually burn yourself out trying to achieve. Whereas maybe you're going to learn that it's okay to sit still and rely on divine timing, or connect to divine timing, because divine timing is the creative force. Because here we have the 9 of Swords and the World. And this is a fabulous 9 of Swords card. It's like basically debris being eaten up by maggots and worms. So it's the end of things. And followed by the World card. So a sense of completion for you. The Lovers in the shadow. So we have the 9 of Cups and the Temperance card. So possibly in Sagittarius season, there's going to be some sort of wish fulfillment, or on the Sagittarius full moon that we had at the end of May, which was a blue moon, you had some deep realizations related to this dynamic. And the realizations were about what truly fulfills you. And there was some sort of swords had to be drawn. You had to put an end to stuff that you inherited, to roles that you were meant to play that were inherited and not chosen by you. Because your true sort of path and your true fulfillment is about desire and pleasure. Daughter of Cups. It's not only about defending yourself and achievement, and I feel like we're in a sort of global reckoning with all the stuff we've inherited as true that are actively being rejected. So there was some turning within for you. There's been some turning within for you based around the theme of love, partnerships, where you're going, what truly fulfills you, what you need to go forward. You know, the hunter's going forward here all on his own, whereas the lovers here, I think they're geese, are going together, because we have the Three of Wands in the shadow. So maybe there was something for you about community, going forward together, rejecting some inherited heaviness. And it's not for everybody, because I think a lot of people are stuck in just, you know, legacy. They inherit their legacy and they fulfill it, you know, like they're told these are the rules, these are the traditions, you must uphold them, and they do. They comply. Whereas I feel like you're not complying because it kept you empty. And you actually want to build community based on joy and like-mindedness. So you're a bit of a rule breaker, let's say. You don't have a traditional textbook story. You have broken a rule set down by the archetypal king. And you're on your own, you're out on your own, but you're out on your own doing really well. You're out on your own, you have your own finances in order, your health in order, your mental health in order, your house and housing in order. The Nine of Pentacles is you have everything in order, and you've done it on your own. And of course, here we have the Tower with the Three of Swords reversed in the shadow. You have got everything on your own because anything you've tried to build with others was destroyed because it wasn't true. Like the tower will topple because it's not sturdy enough to withstand the strike of lightning. You know, sometimes when there's like an electric storm, you know, your house doesn't burn down. So if it does, it wasn't really strong enough. Now we have the Four of Wands. So there is something about stability, security, and creating it for yourself. Because the Four of Wands here I like. It's like a mirror and a window. The Daughter of Swords and Death with the Fool in the shadow. Yeah. You've had a very major transformation that has actually made you more confident about yourself. You've come out of it very elegantly. And you know who holds the power, and it's you. Like it didn't destabilize you. Six of Cups and the Father of Pentacles. So there's the King again. The Justice in the shadow. Yeah, I'm just getting this sense of like you value and you honor tradition, but it also has come at a price and a cost for you where it's been released from you, and that gives you grief, or it's given you grief. But you find yourself here as the creator. So you're still in an amazing position. So even though maybe you were a misfit or a mystic and you didn't live up to the traditional path, according to the society and your age group and all of that, you actually find yourself not broken, not alone, not ugly, you know, like you're actually fit, healthy, wealthy, and happy. So you're like, okay, this isn't, no one's written a guidebook for that, you know, because the old stories say, well, you should be broken. And so here's the strength and the wand that you hold with a Chariot in the shadow. I think I'm going to leave it there. And I love that the Chariot is the hunter. So your hunter-huntress energy is your power. You know who you are and you know your value and worth. And, you know, I can see that there is a lot of work you've had to do with yourself around defying traditional patriarchal values that were bestowed upon you that only left you like you were lacking something, that you had an empty room, that you failed to live up to something. But what you're realizing is actually the future is yours to create and to write. Ace of Wands. And the Strength card, like, it's a card of Leo. And so Leo season could be a factor, or maybe you are a Leo or dealing with a Leo. And the Chariot's also Cancer season. So Cancer season is prior to Leo season. So I feel like around July, August, you're really coming into your power and you're reclaiming a story that used to have you feeling heartbroken and lacking. Whereas now you're like, actually, I'm not lacking. I'm doing great. So the world's your oyster, my friends. Really wonderful reading. It started off a bit heavy. So thanks for sticking around. Let me know what you think. Leave a like, a comment. I always appreciate them. And as always, I will leave you with my love and courage until we meet again. Bye for now.